Welcome, wanderers of the weird, seekers of the strange, and lovers of the unexplained. You've entered Project Woo Woo, the podcast that peers beyond the veil into the mysterious, the bizarre, and sometimes the terrifying. I'm your host, Tim Andrews, and tonight I'm going to dig up the roots of the spookiest night in history, Halloween. We'll uncover where it came from, how it traveled across the sea, and what it's become today, a night when the supernatural meets the supermarket. Then we'll descend into the top 3 scariest true Halloween stories ever told, and finally explore some of the strangest, most macabre Halloween traditions, both ancient and modern, from around the world. So, grab your flashlight, lock the door, and maybe leave just one candle burning, because on this night, shadows remember. Our journey begins over 2,000 years ago in the misty hills of ancient Ireland and Scotland. The Celtic people celebrated Samhain, the festival marking the end of the harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter. To the Celts, Samhain wasn't just a calendar date. It was the night when the boundary between the living and the dead thinned to the width of a whisper. They believed spirits, both good and wicked, roamed the earth. Some sought loved ones, others sought vengeance. People lit great bonfires, wore animal skins and masks to disguise themselves from wandering ghosts, and left offerings of food and drink to appease the spirits, the original treats. In other words, before kids went door to door for Kit Kats, people went field to field begging not to be possessed. Then came the Christians. Around the 9th century, the church, in one of history's most successful rebranding campaigns, moved All Saints' Day to November 1st, calling the night before All Hallows' Eve. Over time, All Hallows' Eve slurred into Halloween and later Halloween. When Irish and Scottish immigrants came to America in the 1800s, they brought these ancient customs with them, including the eerie tradition of carving faces into turnips to scare away spirits. But the Americans, never ones to settle for small produce, traded in turnips for pumpkins. And just like that, the jack-o'-lantern was born. By the 1920s, Halloween in the U.S. had shed its religious roots and turned into a mix of community parties, costumes, and pranks. By the 1950s, it became what we know today, a $10 billion holiday powered by fun-sized sugar bombs and fear. Now that we've opened the coffin lid of history, let's turn to something even darker. Here are 3 real-life Halloween stories. Chilling, true, and unforgettable. 1. The Candyman of 1974 in Texas. A man named Ronald O'Brien poisoned his own son's Halloween candy with cyanide, all to collect on a life insurance policy. He even handed out the same poison candy to other kids to cover his tracks, but only his own son ate it. To this day, that single act of evil birthed the urban legend that strangers tamper with Halloween treats, a myth rooted in horrifying truth. He was called the Candyman, and it's because of him that parents everywhere still check every chocolate bar. 2. The Ghost in the Photograph in 1962. In Illinois, a family snapped a Halloween photo of their children dressed as pirates and witches. When the film was developed, a pale figure appeared behind them. Not in costume, not anyone they knew, no neighbors, no guests, just there. The house, as it turned out, was built on old farmland where a local legend spoke of a woman who had vanished on Halloween night over a century before. The photo was tested, analyzed, yet never explained. Today, it's locked away in a local museum, but copies still circulate online, waiting for someone just brave enough to zoom in. 3. The War of the Worlds. Panic in 1938. While not technically a haunting, but definitely terrifying, on Halloween Eve, Orson Welles broadcast The War of the Worlds as a radio drama, but presented it as a live news report. Within minutes, listeners believed Martians had invaded New Jersey. People fled their homes, armed themselves, even called police stations demanding evacuation orders. One farmer reportedly shot at a water tower, thinking it was an alien tripod. That broadcast ended, but the panic lived on, a reminder of how easily fear spreads, especially on Halloween. Imagine that happening today. Twitter would melt faster than a chocolate bar in a haunted Florida attic. Now, let's take a quick world tour of some of the strangest, creepiest, and most macabre Halloween-style traditions, both ancient and modern. The Hungry Ghost Festival in China. Held in the 7th lunar month, it's believed the gates of hell open and spirits wander the earth. People burn fake money, paper cars, even paper mansions to keep their ancestors happy in the afterlife. It's like Amazon Prime for ghosts. The Day of the Dead in Mexico. Dia de los Muertos celebrates life and death with marigolds, sugar skulls, and altars to loved ones. It's not about fear, it's about remembering. Beautiful but slightly unnerving when you realize the whole city turns into a cemetery celebration. The burning of the witch in Austria. In some Austrian villages, people once burned straw witches at midnight to chase away winter spirits. A symbolic gesture, but if you've ever seen the movie The Wicker Man, you know symbolism can get out of hand. The Night of the Skulls in Sardinia. Residents parade through the streets wearing carved gourds on their heads, whispering prayers to the dead. Visitors say the sound of hundreds of murmuring voices in the dark streets is like standing inside a living seance. The Feast of the Dead in the Philippines. Families hold midnight picnics in cemeteries, sharing food with the spirits of their ancestors. You bring fried chicken, Grandpa brings a chill down your spine. From turnips in Ireland to marigolds in Mexico, humans across the world share one truth. We're fascinated by death and terrified of what comes after. We light candles not to scare the darkness away, but to remind it that we are still here. Tonight, we've traced Halloween from ancient bonfires to candy aisles, from pagan superstition to paranormal truth. And we've discovered that for all our costumes and jokes, something deep inside us still believes that on this night, the veil between worlds grows thin. Maybe it's just a myth. Maybe it's a memory. Or maybe when the wind howls outside your window, it's someone or something remembering you. Hey everybody, I'm Tim Andrews, and this has been a Halloween special from Project Woo Woo. If you enjoyed tonight's dive into the dark and the unexplained, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you never miss when something strange stirs again. And don't forget the master of mystery and the macabre, Mark Mosgrove, and I bring you weirdness, wonder, and woo-woo every week. From ghost ships to UFOs to psychic mysteries. Until next time, keep your mind open. Keep your flashlight handy. And remember, the truth might be out there, but sometimes it's standing right behind you. Happy Halloween.